Fascinating. This is Gabrielle Ruiz, and you're watching TrekCulture.
Hello my friends, and how are you? Well, I hope you checked out our video breaking down the news about Starfleet Academy, and of course some of the news that came out about some merchandise that was all revealed at New York Comic Con. But what we're going to do now is concentrate on this video is going to be the Lower Decks news that came out. So I want to say up front, there is a chance there will be spoilers in this video because at the panel, they screened episode 1 of season 5 and they did discuss it a little bit. So I want to give you the opportunity just in case I will do my very best not to spoil anything. They all die. But no, seriously. I don't want anyone to get spoilers if they don't want to see them, okay? So I will discuss what they talked about in the panel in this video. I do not mind whatsoever if you want to wait. Will not take it personally. Love yous. I know yous love me back. It's all fine. Are you still with me? So much fun to see Mike McMahon, Tawny Newsome, Jack Quaid, Eugene Cordero, and Noel Wells on stage together for the first time. So this is the first time they've done a convention together. Now, it seems like an odd time to do it as the show's ending, but it was so fun, and I suppose in a way weird, but in a positive way, to see them all together, because all you have to do is close your eyes and it's Mariner, Boimler, Tendi, and Rutherford. You know what I mean? Shout out to Noel Wells, who wore all green, which was just fantastic. There's so many bittersweet feelings that we have about Lower Decks going into this 5th season, because as it stands, this is it for Lower Decks. Now, I that's not quite as depressing a statement. I want to open with oh, all right, Sean, cheer up then. In its current form, and I'm actually quoting Mike McMahon here, in its current form, the season 5 will be the final journey of Lower Decks. But I think in its current form is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. Will we get a movie? Will we get live action? Will we get, well, all of these are possibilities. Let me park that for a second. We're going to go through the clip that was officially released. So this is from the season premiere. We open with our favorite crew arriving on the bridge. Mariner is absolutely chuffed to be doing a day of exploration and a day on the bridge. And you know what, genuinely, I believe her. I really, really do believe her. I think it's fun, and I like this direction for Mariner. I mean, Mariner is fun and always has been fun. And yes, I can hear people going, hey Sean, do you remember when you said you were annoyed about her journey? Yes, I remember when I said I was annoyed about her journey. But she's a lot of fun, and she's brilliant. And Tawny Newsome's brilliant. Yeah, they've discovered a spatial fissure, and they're not very happy about it, because apparently they've been discovering a lot of spatial fissures recently. Do you think that's going to become a season plot point, anyone? I guess we're being introduced to our season arc here. And yeah, Cerritos being the Cerritos, it gets pulled through the spatial fissure, already immediately thinking of Worf in the episode Parallels, and Lower Decks being Lower Decks. I presume that was very deliberate. And they find themselves facing the USS Cerritos. So we're all thinking, okay, it's a mirror universe then, isn't it? And no. Apparently it's a same but different universe, which I guess is the mirror universe. Hey, shut up. Anyway, yeah, we get Captain Becky Freeman. Okay. All right, what? There's Boimler sitting there with an old beard. And you got Rutherford at the back there, looking all kind of robo. Okay. Also, distinct lack of Tendi. Now, as we know, Season 4 concluded with Tendi going off to rejoin, in a way, the Orion Syndicate. You know, she owes a debt to her sister, to Erica. So, yeah, she's not there in this clip. Thankfully, they did speak on that in the panel. They spoke about their excitement. They said you could see the chemistry on stage together. I mean, it was just infectious seeing them. I will say, actually, right, I'm gonna say this. If I were the PR person for Paramount, which, you know, God willing, one day I will be, but if I was, I would have reservations about putting Mike McMahon on stage. Man couldn't wait to talk about the season. It was like, oh, what's good? Do you want to know what's in season 7? I'm going to tell you in episode 7. Okay, well, no, not really. But just watching them feed off each other and bounce off each other to the point where I was just like, you could probably be telling me, like, the plot of episode 10 right now. And I'm like, I wouldn't know whether to believe you or not. Each of them were asked, I think the $1 million question, which is, this was a fan question, which was, what would you have liked to have seen for your character? Eugene Cordero joked about the fact that, we're going into Imagination Land. And he went into this big spoiler bit. He wants more babies. He wants just more and more Rutherford babies, which I thought was hilarious. Because, he kind of keeps making them, doesn't he? You've got Badgie, Gudgie, Logicy. And also, let's not forget his cave baby was T'Ana. Enough Rutherford, all right? So, Mike McMahon chimed in and said, we could do a whole episode about, the vasectomy of Rutherford. And for such an okie dokie character, you don't really think about what how do I put this, virile character he is. I feel uncomfortable. I'm going to move on to the next one. I like the fact that both Eugene and Noel spoke the fact that they'd love to see themselves in live action. And straight away, everyone jumped in on this point as well. Jack Quaid jumped in saying we want to see them in live action because obviously, we loved those old scientists. It was fantastic. And also as a proof of concept episode, it really, really worked. So seeing the live action version of the Lower Deckers, I think would be perfect. So when Mike McMahon was talking about, what we could possibly do next, not only did he say, well, he knows what the plan was for each of them. He knew where they ended up. So that was a bit of a tidbit, like, oh, really? So if we all just buy Mike drinks at a bar one night, be like, hey, so, Tendi in season 8, what were we planning? He would also love to see them in live action. Not that that was necessarily the next step, but that is something that Lower Decks could work with. I think, everyone on stage you could see was very much of the same mind of, we're not ready for this to end. And that was palpable on stage. And of course, for some of them, it's not the end. I just want to very quickly mention here that there was, across all of the panels, no discussion whatsoever of Tawny Newsome and Justin Simeon's show. That was, I'm going to say, soft confirmed at SDCC, because in an interview with Cinema Blend's Mick Jost just the other day, Tawny did stress that the show has not been officially greenlit. It's obviously at a stage where they're kind of allowed to talk about it, but it hasn't officially. It's not like it's got the budget, and it's not like it's got the, the filming locations. But again, it seems to be in a good enough place that they can mention it. And Tony, as we know, is in the writing room for Starfleet Academy. In that same article, I will say that they talked about it could be a vehicle to have many returning characters, and that's something they spoke about on stage tonight as well. That shows like Lower Decks are perfect places to bring characters back, as indeed this new show could be as well. In terms of confirmations and announcements, it was low. I guess Lower Decks, to be fair, is sort of hamstrung in that too, isn't it? Because it's its final season, so you don't want to give too much away going into your final season. So they have already released 2 poster arts for season 5 of Lower Decks. The first is the one that we are currently using as the thumbnail for our Everything We Want to See in season 5 of Lower Decks video, so please do check that out. And the other one was just hilarious. It's the seat with the seat belt, and I just love it, because it itself is a reference to Star Trek V: The Final Frontier, and the one we had been hoping for, waiting for, they did release the Final Frontier version of a Lower Decks poster. They released today as well. They did say that on this poster could be spoilers for the season. Now, we will say that, having seen the teaser and the trailer, they contained a giant Targ, which also appears to be on this poster. Does this mean that we'll be visiting Kronos? Does this mean that Master Replicas are going to give me that plushie of a Targ that I really, really want? Yeah, you thought I forgot about that, didn't you? No, I want the plushie of the Targ, Master Replicas. I want the plushie of the Targ. The best way, I think, to sum up the Lower Decks panel was energy. There's so much energy and there's so much excitement from the cast, from the creator for this show. I mean, this show cannot be finished. Now, while of course they couldn't say as much, you could see that if they were told, come back in, we're doing a 5-minute clip, they'd be there in a heartbeat. I was actually fortunate enough this week to have a chance to speak very, very briefly to our Lower Deckers. And selfishly, look, I'm absolutely delighted to say this. Jack Quaid said he would give me a Latinum up, and that makes me feel very, very happy. But in that interview, I asked them what they hoped the legacy of this series would be. Tawny, in both our interview and on stage, spoke to the idea of Lower Decks has opened the door for the zany Star Trek to really breathe. Now, there's been zany Star Trek as long as there's been Star Trek, but Lower Decks has embraced that and it has run with it. That, I think, is a beautiful answer to this idea of legacy. Plus, as well, of course, that while animated Star Trek is now 50 years old, this has kind of helped bring it back. And it's helped us to recognize that Star Trek is not confined to any one medium. Now, we've known that for years. There's novels, there's comics, there's games. I think sometimes televised media has a wider reach. And this, I think, has helped people to look at other versions of Star Trek. And while I firmly believe Lower Decks is not finished, nor is it going to finish, and I won't allow it to finish, but I firmly believe that if it were, it will have one of the most enduring legacies of any Star Trek series. And that is just best typified by our 4 Lower Deckers and Mike McMahon, who were like kids in a candy store getting to talk about the show. Folks, keep an eye out. We have this coming Thursday, October the 24th, episodes 1 and 2. It's a 2-episode premiere of season 5 will be dropping. Our ups and downs will be coming as soon as possible after that. Clips are available online. Of course, the clip that was officially released today is available online, so check that out if you want to. If you don't want to, don't. Just watch the episode when it drops. That's all going to be good fun. You are awesome. We will bring you more news if and when it comes. Who am I kidding? I've got a video coming right up after this. So you look after yourselves until I see you again. You are wonderful. You are awesome. And quite frankly, you're pretty logical. Live long and prosper, and I'll chat to you soon.